Welcome to YOUCANIC. Today here on YOUCANIC we have a 2011 Cadillac STS, and on this Cadillac STS our check engine light is on. Engine is running a bit rough, and so we're going to check engine code with the scanner, OBD2 scanner, the YOUCANIC scanner, and we got this hooked up, and then we're going to check what that engine code is. So you're going to hit enter, you're going to hit diagnostic. Now it's going to communicate with the vehicle, and then just hit yes. And it says we have our check engine light on, which we know that. And then we're going to read the code. We're going to see what that stored code is. And it says the intake air temperature sensor 1, the circuit is high. And that's a P0100. And then it also says we have another one, which is the mass or volume airflow A circuit, right? These can both be in the same category because they both have to do with the mass airflow sensor, intake air, and the mass airflow. So we have a P00 or P0100 and a P0113. And so now we're going to get out and we're going to take a look at what could be causing that. It could be the sensor itself. It also could be the lines that go to it could have a hole in it. So you'll want to check that. And then once you've checked that, then you'll go through the process of replacing your sensor if that's what you deem it to be. Now, this engine is running decently rough at an idle. Now, some of the symptoms here is when you give it the gas, it's a little hesitant. And if you're used to driving your vehicle, you're going to know how it generally operates. And so that's when you're going to start looking around to see what you can fix. So out here in the engine bay, there's a cover plate that goes over here, as well as on the other side. It has been removed, but that's just held on with two little push pins right down here, and it sits there. So this is your mass airflow sensor, which is this big plastic chunk piece right here, and then the electrical connector that's right here. So first we're going to check for that this is mounted securely, and then that this line here has good clamp attached to it, as well as going into the intake of the vehicle. Right here of the intake, this is your throttle body intake system, and this is the actuator that makes this open and close, right? So we're going to check that this is tight and that we don't have any holes in this tube, because this will give a false reading as this thing communicates with ECU and controlling the amount of airflow back and forth so that you get the proper burn. And then we checked, this is a vacuum line that comes off. You want to check, make sure that that is all connected and anything like that. But if you've gone ahead and checked all that, and you can do this with the engine running, feeling around it, see if you feel the air. You've gone ahead and checked all that, then it could just be as simple as that the mass airflow sensor has gone bad. And so we'll go over the process of how you replace this mass airflow sensor. So to start with, you'll want to unhook this connector, and this is just a press connect on the back or underside, and then pull it away. And that is the connector, and it has the little tab that locks in there. And so we'll set this aside, and then undo this clamp. It's just a 8mm nut driver, or you can use a flathead Phillips. Or a flathead screwdriver, and then you'll pull this connector off. Now we have enough space to move that down. If you want more, just do the other one that comes off the throttle body, and then that way we can set the whole thing out of the way, because we have a number 3 bolt right here to remove and a number 3 screw bolt on the bottom, and this whole plastic assembly, this tube and everything, is our mass airflow sensor. Okay, we've got the one screw. Screw number 2. And now, should be able to just remove. This is the mass airflow sensor. It's removed. They do make a mass airflow sensor cleaner. You could spray that. To me, it's 50-50 on whether that actually ever works, or versus just buying a new mass airflow sensor and reinstalling that. So then you would just take your new mass airflow sensor and we put it on in the reverse order. Alright, so that's been tightened on. We'll go ahead and make sure we don't forget to hook the electrical connector up. And we pull that till it clicks. And then we get our intake line back on. And tighten those clamps and fittings. Alright, and now we will clear the code and run the vehicle and see if it runs better. So we haven't cleared the code yet, but the engine, I can tell, is already running a bit better, and the idle is more at 9 instead of being at 8. So we're going to go through our code reader, go back to back. We're going to erase the codes, and we say yes. And now we'll just go ahead, and then you'll shut the vehicle off. You'll start it a few times, or you'll drive it around for at least a good week and make sure that that code doesn't come back on. If it does, then you're going to have to be looking at something more that could be causing that issue. But that's where you would look for your mass airflow sensor to go in to replace your mass airflow sensor, and also checking around the connections there and making sure that we don't have any leaks between that. Thanks for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be the mechanic.